Coming, everybody. Today is day 4 of the WTF and our NFTs. And today I've got Anorak here. Maddie took the day off. And so we threw Anorak in. And it's going to be a conversation about gaming today, which is kind of easy for us, since we all kind of just do this, Decentraland is our kind of main focus. So we've got a lot of people from around. Let me have everybody introduce themselves. Steve, let's start with you.
Nice. Steve Wan from Game Credits, digital as well as not fungible. Here to talk about blockchain gaming and ownership of digital assets.
We have Will from MetaZone.
What's up, guys? My name is Will from MetaZone, and I think we're all aligned here in this panel in the sense of having NFTs functional. So that's what I want to be talking about today.
Ooh, that's fancy. Robbie from Chain Guardians.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me, Anorak. Frankie, thanks for having me at Decentraland. I'm Robbie from Chain Guardians, and I'm a co-founder over there, and hopefully I will be able to give some sort of valid opinion on NFTs at this moment in time. Mm-hmm. That's me.
And we have boss Miles from Decentral Games.
Hey guys, I'm founder of Decentral Games, and we have a group of NFTs ourselves, the wearables, but we've like Will said, we have incorporated some utility into them in our games, financial utility. So obviously, love to talk about that and anything else NFTs today. Looking forward to it.
Definitely, and of course, Anorak.
Yeah, I got the last second invitation. I'm filling in for the mayor, Maddie, today and tomorrow. So we're going to talk all things gaming, and tomorrow is the metaverse. So it's going to be a couple fun topics and hopefully a couple educational days, because we talked art and some other stuff, and now we're getting into the gaming side of things, which is, I think, my favorite industry in the NFT space. And it's interesting to hear two of the four guests here touch on utility right off the bat with Will and Boss. They both have projects inside of Decentraland, which is primarily where they operate. MetaZone is a platform where people can build, sell, and buy assets to put on their land. And Boss obviously is the main guy behind Decentral Games, the casinos that we see in world, like Tomonoya and Chateau and some of those places. So, Will, I wanted to kick it to you right to start. You touched on utility first, and what are some of the things right now where we're at in this NFT gaming space, where we're starting to explore utility? It's the very early innings, but what are some of the ways that you guys are starting to attach utility to the NFTs at MetaZone?
Yeah, this is one of my favorite questions, and we talk about this all the time on our podcast. And first thing I'll say, Miles, Boss, kudos to you guys. You guys are killing it, man. I'm really happy for you guys. You're one of the best examples to show that you can have a business within the metaverse and be extremely successful. So we look up to you, Miles. This is like one of those things that we've sort of predicted would happen in the metaverse, but not until it actually happens. It's like, wow, we're actually getting there. And so, you guys are doing a great job, man.
Thanks, Will. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So going back to your question, Anorak, we think about this all the time. It's like it's all about sustainability for us. It's how do we populate a metaverse where the community is required to pretty much build everything? And one of the things that we're seeing with our community is they're starting to think a little bit outside the box, beyond just gaming itself. Like, for example, Nico, he made a DEX into an NFT. A decentralized exchange into an NFT. And somebody could buy this and deploy it on their land and market it and create their own little DEX as a business. And that, even though it's not really a game, but it's one of the functional aspects that we think is going to permeate a little bit more ubiquitously and a lot more often, in the sense that we're going to see not only DEXs, but even like centralized exchanges as an NFT. You're going to see things where you're going to be interacting with, Tom Brady's coming out with his own NFT platform. why not make his entire store into its own NFT that people can deploy on their land and share as an affiliate link, if you will, right? It's a kind of like a glorified affiliate link, but it's ultimately your business as an NFT. So that's really what we're focusing on now, and it is still kind of like gamification, but it's more on the business side of things. And now with a lot more metaverses spinning up in Binance Smart Chain, we have all these like different silos coming up with their own metaverses. There's a huge opportunity for creators to really take advantage on creating things within the limitations of the existing metaverses. So yeah, I mean, that's really what we're focused on right now. And, you know, I want to invite everybody to kind of like think outside the box. I mean, you can create pet games to, like I said, the decentralized exchange, and all the APIs, all the tech is out there. You just got to put it together into a package and, you know, sell it to people. And hopefully it's a business that people really like and start, you know, pushing, just like, you know, Miles with a casino. I mean, a casino could be an NFT if you think about it. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, that the DEX thing that you touched on is pretty cool. I'm sure you blew some minds with that. It's really just like this podium in world where people can go and trade at. Pretty similar to some of the other things that we see like in the real world, where there's like a vending machine type of concept almost to it, but it's an NFT. But the MetaZone guys, the games that they initially created are working towards making them smart NFTs and NFTs themselves. And to go on Will's point that you know, you can kind of explore and come up with these different ideas of what you can turn into an NFT. Well, the games that MetaZone is making are the end goal is to make those NFTs in themselves, which is pretty cool. It's this whole interactive thing. It's pretty tough to explain, but I'm sure if you wander around Decentraland for 10 to 15 minutes or so, you'll bump into one of them. Yeah. There's these, they're called the Block Runner games. You can jump over stuff, jump to different platforms and everything like that. And then also, if you're wandering around Decentraland, you'll probably bump into one of the casinos that Boss has set up. And Will touched on the fact that you guys are kind of building out this business inside of the metaverse. So, Boss, how many people are you currently employing right now to work at your casinos inside of the metaverse?
It's crazy. Our team is obviously expanded quite a bit over the last several months, but of those, like half of our team is people that actually work inside the casino. So we basically wanted to create an environment where anyone that hops in, you know, they would have someone to greet them, have someone to show them how to play, have someone to show them how to deposit crypto. Just because, you know, it's the whole point of having a metaverse casino is to be able to play with other people. And we kind of felt that, you know, hopping into the casino and being alone was just totally a horrible user experience. So yeah, we hired 20 people that take shifts, kind of like a brick and mortar like business. And basically, you know, I have a few folks like in charge of just managing those shifts and training the helpers, and it's been great. They do an amazing job. Some of them even get tipped by some users sometimes, like in Mana. It's a pretty cool vibe, and I think, you know, we're definitely going to try to expand it and scale it even further. Right now, we have a few, like either 3 or 4 workers, usually active at any point in time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and then you know, spread across multiple realms as well. So, you know, if someone hops into another realm, you know, there'll be someone there, hopefully, in some of the main realms. But yeah, it's been great, and I think, you know, for us it made sense just because each player kind of brings a lot of value to the ecosystem, especially in a casino where it's kind of more profit driven as opposed to some other games, I would say. But yeah, it's an interesting kind of use case, and I think just a proof of concept for some other, you know, metaverse jobs, because it makes it more personable, having someone actually there as opposed to like an NPC or something. So
I have a question for Miles. My question is, did you build a tool set for anyone that shows up in the casino to kind of like, it basically notifies the workers there that someone arrived and you just got to go greet them? Or are they just like looking at the little corner on Decentraland and seeing who's logged in and stuff?
So we have like a bot in our Discord chat that basically anytime someone hops into one of our scenes, it alerts the the Discord chat. I've actually muted it because it's kind of annoying. But like it's good. It has a lot.
Yeah, I looked up today. There was 100 people there. So you figure 100 times in the morning. Like,
yeah. So yeah, basically, so we have that. So anytime someone hops in, it pings the server. Obviously, most people just turn it off because it's kind of annoying. But it's kind of cool to look through. Like, you know, you can see exactly like when people come in. It shows a picture of their avatar and a link to the realm that they're in.
Okay.
But so yeah, in terms of being able to monitor if folks hop in, like, you know, a casino host can hop in and join them that way. And then another good kind of feature that we added recently was on our UI. This is something that I've been trying to push the Decentraland team to add just to the base UI, like of the Explorer. But I know obviously they're very busy. I think they'll probably have added eventually. But basically in the top left-hand portion of our screen, like right under the map, like we list the top realms, like, and then show like exactly how many users there are in each one, like the top 3 realms. And then we have like a link. So like if you see, you know, one of them is more populated, or, you know, you're in one that's too crowded or something, you can hop to like the second best one or the third best one with just like a click. So we thought that was, you know, that's obviously helpful from you know, the casino host perspective as well.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So just real quick, boss. So what are, you talked about kind of the player engagement and stuff, and how it's more fun to be at the casino with a group of people than just by yourself. What are some of the things that you're doing with the Central Games NFTs that kind of promote that engagement? And we talk about utility. What's the utility of those NFTs you have there?
So for our NFTs, we kind of just like treat them all the same. Like we did a summer's collection in 2020 and then in a fall collection, but the summer collection is
like digital clothes, like the wearables and stuff you're referencing.
Yeah. So we just mainly just pack the utility into the wearables, and basically as you play the games, there's like a mining rate of DG, and so you mine tokens kind of slowly as you bet based on how much you're betting and based on the house edge of a specific game. And we target roughly 50% of the expected losses of the game. So you know, over time you mine the tokens. But to incentivize certain behavior, we wanted to, you know, add bonuses. So like, for example, if you're wearing one of the NFTs, then you get 10% bonus, and you can have up to 4. So you can get 40% mining bonus of DG when you're wearing all 4 NFTs. And then we also wanted to incentivize folks to like play with each other. And so, you know, if there's 2 players at the table, then they get a bonus. 3 and 4 players, they get even further bonuses. So, you know, 4 players is plus 30. So like, you know, with all the NFTs and you know, 3 other friends that you're playing with, you can get up to 70% mining bonus. So we've actually seen it's been great because it's, you know, every time I hop in, there's always kind of like a group around a table, and they're all playing together, which has been awesome to see. But yeah, it's interesting. You know, I would say, you know, anyone kind of trying to pack NFTs into a game, I would say it's definitely cool to just explore kind of incentive mechanisms to, you know, use it in a certain way, or more than just, you know, the you know, looking cool as a wearable. I think packing like, you know, utility into it is definitely, you know, a good step to take.
I think that was like a direct example. You know what I mean? Sometimes the idea of having a wearable give you like extra powers is like cool, but getting you extra money is directly gonna, you know, show you how this is working. You know, you're like, okay, wait a minute, he said money.
Exactly.
You know, and you're like, okay, you know, now I'm paying attention, and then you can get the idea how it can go, you know, in different directions and also still be very useful and valuable. You know?
Good. So there's almost like the play to earn model with the wearables and such at Decentral Games. One of the things that we've seen people kind of explore in the NFT space, and one of those projects is Chain Guardians. They have a play to earn model on their platform where you know, these NFTs aren't maybe they don't look as cool when you're wearing them as their the Decentral Games stuff has all the swag. They got the track suits, they got the chains, they got the slippers and stuff like that all look awesome. But at Chain Guardians, it's actual like it's a role-playing game, and the characters themselves that are NFTs have a play to earn mechanism built in. So Robert, can you kind of touch on some of the things that you're doing with Chain Guardians, exploring the play to earn aspect of these NFTs?
Yeah, of course. And it was really awesome listening to Miles and Will talk about utility and NFTs there, guys. I think just to circle back on that and just add in my own 2 cents, I completely agree with everything they're saying with respect to the importance of utility. And what I think we will find as we move forward is that we'll start to see more like classifications of NFTs, because ultimately the beauty behind them is that they are essentially cryptographic tokens which are held on a decentralized ledger, completely immutable, and however you want to program their use case, it's completely limitless, right? So I think down the line we will see NFTs that represent like property deeds, and not even like just property deeds, right? I'm talking like actually tokenization of property. And I know that there has been some I think there's already been a couple of projects that have probably already started exploring that. I think it makes sense for shares to be moved to this kind of model as well. So just to reiterate that, and I think the main aim for all projects in my opinion is the more utility you can give to the NFTs, the better. And I think, very early on with ourselves when we started out Chain Guardians, one of the things we set out to do was to actually kind of promote promote the kind of the benefits of NFTs, not just kind of from one use case, but multiple use cases. So we have, for example, our NFTs, they can be used on 2 different platforms already at the exact same time, right? You can use them on our NFT mining platform, and you can use them on in our RPG. And beyond that, there is plans to enable use case for them further, so you can actually submit them to the blockchain, and you'll be able to mine more NFTs. So you kind of count compounding rewards and incentivizing your users more and more to use these NFTs, which I think is kind of just summing up what coming back to the point what Will and Miles was talking about a little bit. In terms of ourselves with the play to earn, I think similar to the kind of interoperability of NFTs, not just kind of on your platform across other platforms, it's a similar kind of principle in the sense that you are essentially doing something or solving a problem that exists in a huge traditional market, which is gaming in our case, whereby essentially have these assets that you might spend thousands on, and then once the game title ends or whatever, they're dead, right? And I think that for us, I'm not saying anything that nobody here knows already, but for the newcomer, that's a massive kind of problem that NFTs solve. Another one of those is as a result of the kind of being within a decentralized world, if you like, we can, and what DeFi has brought, in particular decentralized finance, for those that are not familiar with the DeFi term, is the ability to actually integrate, implement is the word I'm looking for, a play to earn model, which essentially means you are rewarded for your time and effort. And this has kind of been something that's kind of been in existence since blockchain gaming started. It was My Crypto Heroes are one that was looking at this earlier, and Axie have obviously made a huge success of their model. So we're not kind of the newest one to explore this, but what is kind of apparent here is that in traditional gaming, because you don't have like tokenized models of structure and use case, they've no actual opportunity within the kind of terms and conditions of traditional games to actually earn real money for your value and time. And if you just look at it from a larger societal perspective, right, everything you do in life, you are effectively rewarded for your time. I mean, if you even look at like there's browsers now, right, that will pay you for looking at adverts, right? If you go to work, you get paid to go to work. And it's the idea behind play to earn is it's exactly the same. You get paid to play the game, or you have the opportunity to redeem rewards for playing the game. It does bring some problems in the sense that effectively, if you look at the kind of the current bracket of customers or players, if you like, within a community, I would say in the blockchain gaming space, the intelligence of those individuals is extremely high. They are already kind of experimenting with, familiar with DeFi, play to earn models, ERC20, different chains, and all this. And obviously, a large challenge for blockchain gaming is to make play to earn a really kind of user-friendly experience, so that in many cases they may not know that they are interacting with Web3 or the blockchain, but they have the opportunity to both learn more about that or not, and still enjoy the benefits of that play to earn model. And that's, I think, where the real adoption will come from. And yeah, sorry, I've kind of just gone off on a massive mental tangent there, based on what everyone else has said. But brain dump, there's my 2 cents.
Hey, Robbie, you want to talk about? We've mentioned this in the past before. We talk about interoperability all the time. Now that you're like deep into this, can you talk about what it takes for an NFT game asset like Chain Guardians to become interoperable with another metaverse, another game, or whatever?
From a tech point of view, essentially it's all about obviously how you program it, in terms of the APIs and stuff. So a lot of it, once you've got your kind of your metadata and your schema or whatever in the NFT, you can then build the rest of your infrastructure around how your game or whatever else it interacts with that. With that metadata. So from a tech point of view, that would be high level, and there's probably people that can speak on that better than I can. But really, it takes a lot of, on the kind of business level, it takes a lot of synergy in terms of ideologically and mindset. And so you cannot add your asset. I could not go to, let's say, I don't know, Call of Duty, Activision, and say, can you shove our character in Call of Duty, right? And it's an avatar or whatever. So it will require a lot of synergy and kind of you need to be able to bring mutual benefits for both your kind of project and the other projects. Platform.
Yeah, absolutely. It's easy to confuse. We're talking about ERC20s, ERC721s, and 1155s. These are all standards. And if you're in the crypto space without knowing that it's not as simple as a standard for, let's say, like a Chain Guardians asset to be in existence in Decentraland, it's going to be the PNG that you'll see in OpenSea, but it won't be a 3D model, right? You have to actually build it, and then you'd have to support it, and then there's anytime Decentraland makes an update, it breaks stuff, right? And then you gotta have people on staff, like developers, updating the content within the metaverse. And then you gotta have artists change, the materials of the 3D model. It's like this huge crazy thing. So we're trying to get to a point where the assets can be interoperable, but man, it's extremely complicated. I don't think it's as easy as a standard.
Interoperability in that case is going to be case by case, so you have platforms that want to talk together. Then that's cool. Then it's easy at that point, because now the model, the model format that you need to do, and the APIs will be talking together at that point. So it's fine if what you're saying is on the business side, once you make that decision to work together, it's easier. It's just getting there.
So there's two different things. I think that the word interoperability does get bound about a little bit, doesn't it? You can be talking about I think at a product level, so at the game level, and then you can be talking about blockchain level, right?
True.
So your NFT is interoperable across BSC and across other EVMs, Ethereum Virtual Networks, or even layer 2, which I know somebody would slap me for saying that, because Polygon Matic is not layer 2, but is another example. Making it interoperable across the different blockchains or the different chains is probably more achievable. And then obviously, if you've got if you look at, say, BSC, or you look at maybe something like Polkadot with their EVMs, they have projects working on things probably already, or there are projects that are starting to build that second layer of kind of user-friendly tools. So there'll be BSC NFT marketplaces popping up and whatever else, right? So when they start to come as well, you're not having to build that entire infrastructure. So for if you wanted to build, like, let's say, if you wanted to have an NFT on a Polkadot EVM, then you would need a marketplace that would basically display that NFT on Polkadot EVM, right? Or one of Polkadot's EVMs. So, you know, you can build utility and you can build that in. So we could, for example, make it so that you could cross your NFT to one of Polkadot's EVM. But then if there's no like customer facing tools for them to go and view that, it's like, okay, where's my NFT gone? Right? Well, it's on the blockchain somewhere over there. But if they can't then interact with it and see it, that's the layer that you have to build in as the project. And depending on how ambitious you want, use case you want to give that NFT will determine, obviously, kind of, you know, the use case that you can implement at that time. So as more and more these kind of like, I like call them like layer 2s that are coming on top of like products that are building on top of these chains, it makes it easier as a game developer or product developer to then build more use case into your NFTs. So in some regards, you kind of waiting for some of these, you know, new Web3 kind of platforms to pop up, because, you know, we can't sadly build a game and, you know, develop from blockchain point of view, as well as build a marketplace, as well as build a metaverse and all of this sort of stuff, because your resources are finite. So you're absolutely right, Will. I think there is a massive amount of layers that go into creating interoperability, both on the blockchain level and on the product level, and it's an additional layer of entire group of staff that you require that you probably don't need in any other, you know, line of business, I would say.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think this presents an opportunity. I mean, for everyone on the panel, it's like to have like your NFTs interoperable, it just comes down to a partnership. It's like, all right, we created this metaverse and we want you a part of it, but this metaverse is all about, you know, generating revenue. So for your Chain Guardians, we have to figure out a way for our users to generate revenue using Chain Guardians NFTs. It's like, and then you start talking in the same language as the underlying platform that you're trying to integrate to. And so I think we're going to see a lot more of that happening. I mean, in some cases, Robbie, you just went through a Polkastarter, and I think you guys created a Chain Guardians character based on Polkastarter, right?
Yeah, so I mean, very few people actually picked up on that because of the kind of excitement behind the actual Polkastarter IDO. But yeah, absolutely, we're going to be. You can actually see is the actual artwork for the Guardian for Polkastarter already, which we just kind of craftily dropped into one of our banner images there when we did some announcements, and a few people picked up on it. So he'll be released, absolutely, and I think that's more on the product level than the kind of the blockchain level, obviously. Sure. We make a point of one of the kind of visions for Chain Guardians when we launched them was that to hold a Guardian on its native chain, hence the Chain Guardians, would give you kind of unique power-ups and buffs in game. So if I have, for example, Binancio, which is like, you know, what we did with Binance Charity, if you then put them onto the if you put him onto BSC, you will get like a plus 15% power charge in game. So would be the same, for example, with like a Polkadot EVM or let's say Neo or Cardano Guardian and so on and so forth. So yeah, to answer your question, we have interoperability cross-chain kind of in mind, and a major part of the reason for that is because, you know, you don't know what amazing tools are being built across these different chains that bring additional use case opportunities for your users. So we don't want to, let's say, compartmentalize any of our users from having the opportunity to move their assets as they want and still be able to interact with it in the exact same way. And in its essence as well, we sort of fundamentally at heart see it as an opportunity to kind of, promote blockchain principles, both from interoperability and also an educational point of view too. So
yeah, hats off to you, Robbie. I know how much work that is. It's so much work. It's like it's painful. But I think this is going to start to become like status quo for a bunch of NFT projects to have that interoperability built in. And I mean, it's to the benefit to all the projects too, because you start kind of leveraging the other projects' community, and you start getting other communities involved into your game, and it's benefits the community the most of all. So yeah,
and vice versa. You act therefore as a kind of like like a co-marketing platform where we encourage users to for our NFT mining platform in particular. That was one thing that we look to do. You encourage users to come and check out your product and game, and vice versa. You encourage our community and other communities to go. So it's working hand in hand with everybody, and everybody kind of gets a bonus from that. So for the NFT mining platform, for example, we're about to announce this, but we already talked, for example, released an announcement recently with Bondly, and Bondly's NFTs are ERC 1155 standard. You talked about standards, Will.
Yep.
So up until this point, we've added NFTs from a number of different partner projects, so that actually they're not our NFTs, but users can come to our platform and use those NFTs on a completely different project's platform. And we're about to do the same with Bondly's NFTs, and there are different standards. So each time this occurs, there is a whole host of development that needs to go on back end. So you end up needing an entire massively kind of desired back end blockchain development team, as well as let's say your traditional gaming modelers and animators and programmers. So it's an additional layer of complexity, but also really super rewarding too. So
and this might be a question for Steve, and Robbie, what have you seen from your communities in terms of all this game development, all this development that everybody's doing? How important is decentralization still in those communities?
I'll let Steve go.
Yeah, I would say for myself, I challenged our team when we were thinking of the UI for wallet connecting or to generate a password and a username. I was very, very vocal about keeping the option to connect with the wallet.
Yes,
that's very important to me. I myself I go out of my way to use tools that are wallet connected only. A handshake should be enough. One block confirmation should be enough in and out for on and off ramps. If it's something that takes 30 days, to me, that's not really like a blockchain, ethos of what we're trying to accomplish. So to me, it's important to new entrants, being on Clubhouse a lot, as well as just hearing in the Discord groups and seeing the feedback. I would say 75% of new entrants don't care. Ease of use is what they're looking for. They don't sometimes even know or get what they're doing. They want the asset. They don't understand sometimes where it's being held, what it truly is, what they're, if they have true ownership of it or not. And some of them don't even care. And if you told them they don't, it doesn't affect their decision anyway.
Yeah.
Someone like myself, maybe because I came from early crypto days and with Bitcoin, and that was, kind of what we were working towards as a use case always. And then it just carried over into this space for myself. So to me, things like that are important. I try and educate as much as possible that if you are entering through those kind of on-ramps, that should be a stepping stone. And, once you're educated enough, you should kind of move on from there and do what's best for you long-term, security-wise and being self-sovereign. So relying on some of those platforms short-term is, it's a good thing. It's getting new people to the space. They're understanding what's going on is different from what they're used to in the legacy system.
Sure.
But hopefully that's something that 6 to 12 months down the road, once they've entered the space, understand more, become more educated on what the tools, why, some people maybe who've been here longer recommend using these tools. If their eyes are open to those factors, a lot of cases they will migrate to those platforms. And ultimately, if they end up there, that's the best thing that can happen for the whole community as a whole. But getting them there and explaining why that's still important, I think I know we should still continue to do that. And it's important for them to know the background behind it.
Yeah, I think that's the key is why. Why decentralize? I want to hear Robbie's answer to that.
Yeah, it's a really tough line to straddle, I feel personally, because I think if you ask any blockchain aficionado, they would always be for decentralization. But to touch on what Steve said, I think probably maybe some of the new users coming in maybe are not are not necessarily as educated around the importance of decentralization as a concept. So we're kind of currently on board, exploring fiat onboarding and so on and so forth with regards to, let's say, purchasing NFTs or any other asset that we may have on our platform. And a big thing around that is, the ease of use and the tools that exist around, fiat onboarding. A number of them seem to be quite centralized, I would say. Mm-hmm. So, for example, users aren't always aware that they have a blockchain wallet. They're not certainly not necessarily aware about private keys and will not necessarily own them themselves. And I am a little bit uncomfortable with that, if I'm completely honest. I would like to see there be more hybrid models exist, whereby you can almost, the way that I would see the perfect world would be that a user comes to our platform, a completely new user, and you give them options all the way through. Literally kind of like, do you know what blockchain is? No, go here, read about it, right? Do you know what decentralization means? No, go here and read about it. Or, I don't care about any of this, just get me my asset, click here, right? So I like this model where you have the opportunity to, the new users coming in, have the opportunity to decide for themselves whether or not they want to kind of not embrace this decentralized protocol, say, for example, around fiat onboarding, or if they want to kind of educate themselves and understand so that they can operate like a Web3 wallet and go that route. But just as important, if they choose the option to go down the kind of, I don't want control of my keys, I just want to be able to pay with my credit card and then I get this asset show up on my front end website, they still have the opportunity to go and switch and obtain their private keys or move that asset to a decentralized, like MetaMask wallet when they choose to do so, or when they have finally been educated on it. Because I think for everybody that I've introduced to the world of blockchain, they have all kind of just had these little ticking moments in their head where like, oh, I get it now. Okay, now I understand why I need to do this, or now I understand why decentralization is important. And I think fundamentally, everybody who eventually learns about it will want yes. decentralization.
Right. So just to follow up on that, I think this question.
I was going to say, as soon as someone has a pain point, typically, everything's fine until the money's locked, their account, they need the KYC, and until there's like, wait a minute, I'm frozen now. That's when they realize, like, oh, now I know what they're talking about. So as long as everything's cool, they're fine to use the easy system because that's what they're used to, and they can call an 800 number. Someone's there to chat with them and help them if something goes wrong. The second you take the onus on yourself, that's out of the mix. But at the same time, you're fully in control. And so the trade-off there, I think, is very important.
Yeah, I was actually going to say the exact same thing, Steve. I think this is one of the more fundamental questions that these project leads need to figure out, because the last thing that we want to do is create like so much resistance to get on board onto a game or onto a platform that you ask a bunch of these questions and then people just like quickly lose like interest just because they get bombarded by all these questions. They don't know anything about blockchain, for example. And if we create that resistance, then you're not onboarding, the people into your platform, and potentially, you're losing revenue, right? Because if you don't have revenue, you can't really sustain anything. Unfortunately, that's how things work, right? But
so I think sorry to interject there, Will. Just very quickly, I don't want to kind of like monopolize the talk time here, but one of the things that we're kind of exploring is the opportunity of actually having like Chain Guardians as a standalone game, which is for like mobile and web, but has no kind of interaction necessarily with blockchain whatsoever. Users paying fiat, it goes into an account or whatever it would be, and then actually, that's it. Like, they buy their assets, they're in the game just like a traditional game. They're not NFTs and all that kind of thing. But once you get them onto your platform, they start engaging with it in that way. Then you can maybe even like encourage them to go and check out the decentralized blockchain game version of the game, where you can earn real money and use it as more of like an onboarding process into blockchain and decentralization, as opposed to just being like, here's the deep end, sink or swim, right?
Yeah. So I'll ask one more question for Steve, and I'll stay quiet, Inarak. I know I'm kind of monopolizing everything here, but
this is making it easy for me.
yeah, right. So, Steve, my question is, I'm sure you've probably started a bunch of companies in the past before, and it's likely that these companies had nothing to do with blockchain, right? Obviously, we all had lives before blockchain, right? So, my question is, how much more cost is it to decentralize a project than the equivalent project not decentralized? Is it 50% more? Does it cost twice as much to develop?
I would say the devs would be the heftiest charge off the hop. Now, in the long run, removing the intermediaries that might be shaving, nickel and diming you along the way over, the course of 5 to 10 years, removing them from the mix might actually pay off long term.
Okay.
And then as far as the control you have in the company and to say what you do, if you go to a DAO model, that's even more important to me. So I would say right now, and again, those costs, because the demand for a Solidity, say, developer is so high, if that becomes a standard and you can go, to one of 160,000 schools across the globe that would teach you that in 3 years, and everyone and their brother who was coming out of school would know that, that would drastically change that price. And again, it's just like, buying a cell phone in 1992 was astronomically priced for what you're getting now for the same cost, as well as airtime. So I would say in 5 to 10 years that it'll be, I think, cheaper to develop this decentralized model once the knowledge base is there and the next generation is kind of taught this. Right now, though, I would say there are some heavy upfront costs depending on how the business model is driven, and then I guess calculating how much those intermediaries would be taking from you, and not only that, but the jeopardizing, at any given time, those relationships can be severed for something out of your control. In this case, you have a lot more control in that. So I guess it's flip-flopping, but at the end of the day, building these businesses on this model as a DApp, because I believe CZ said it a while ago that the first $10 trillion company will be a DApp, or some sort of decentralized. It'll dwarf what Amazon's done as a centralized entity. And that day is sooner than we think, I think.
Dude, that's so exciting, man.
Totally agree. Absolutely. Yeah.
Steve, as someone who's probably, I would say, the most famous, or at least one of the most well-respected NFT collectors and just collectors in general, how do you see, I guess, gaming NFTs right now as someone who is just a collector? When you're looking at some of these assets, is it purely aesthetic? Is it all about utility for you? As someone who's has so much knowledge on the NFT space, what do you look for when you're checking out some of these games?
I have to say Blancos. You did turn me on to Blancos a while ago. I do like the way they present. It could be more decentralized for sure when the marketplace is kicked in. I heard I'm going to be working with Ethereum as well, which is pretty important. So all those, I would say 6 to 12 months, that's going to be very exciting. The way they present those, the unpackaging, that in itself as a collector, that entices me for sure. I would say Zed Run and Crypto Motors for use case, as well as collecting of the assets, the rarities, the parameters set around them. Both those projects excite me as well. So I do like use cases in my assets. I'm not one, to be honest. I don't own any Punks, Hashmass, like any of those kind of old school things. If I was to buy an original NFT, I would likely look at Counterparty, to be honest with you, as like a true original asset that's an NFT, no matter what chain it was on. And for gaming as a whole, to be honest, I was a gamer when I was younger. I'm not as involved now. My children are, if you could say, all in like tenfold on gaming, and I see what they spend. I've tried to preach them this model that I'm trying to build, and the difference between what they're doing now, and they're like, it's not fast enough, Dad. I'll take this model. So it's only a matter of time before when the right game opens their eyes and triggers the emotions and the attachment they have to a centralized game like Fortnite or Roblox. When something does that, like Axie does to some people in this sense, when that's triggered across the board on multiple games, it's only a matter of time before they're not going to be trickling in. They're going to be like flooding in the droves over to this model. It just makes sense because my children could right now walk away with, say, $8,000 of assets they've obtained. They walk away with nothing. They walk away with nothing but maybe a sour taste that they don't play anymore. So if they could take that, instantaneously trade that, and if they were 16, say go buy their first car or something like that, that's a very important new business model and a game changer for gaming as a whole. which if you told someone that 20 years ago, they would have never thought that was going to be possible in their lifetime, probably.
Yeah.
And now that's completely possible, and it's going to happen very, very soon.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's hilarious about your kids. I saw Gabby Dyson, who is another NFT gamer and just DeFi NFT person on Twitter. They tweeted out that their 11-year-old son had purchased the Axie Infinity governance token AXS, Axis, at it was 12 cents, and Axis was at $10 at the time of this tweet. And that's an 11, and the 11-year-old earned the money that they bought Axis with via play to earn. Like Gabby, the father didn't give the kid any money to start with, or anything, maybe a couple Axies just to play with. But that 11-year-old probably made, I would say, a few $1,000s off of just purely gaming, probably upwards.
Totally. And that's a decentralized entrepreneur that only can do that because there's no age requirement. There's no credit card required to onboard. It's all because a decentralized tool is the only reason that's allowed. And that's a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So you kind of touched on it, and I want to ask Miles this question too after you. But do you think, so everyone in this Zoom thinks that NFT gaming and blockchain-based gaming is going to be huge. But I guess the question I'm wondering is, do you see native NFT in current blockchain-based games paving the way? Or do you see some of these like big-time video game studios like EA Sports, Infinity Ward, and all of these like Fortnite, Epic Games, do you ever see them migrating into this space and taking a foothold in the industry? Or do you think it's going to be these native blockchain-based games?
It's a tough question. I feel like it's kind of been the debate from the beginning of this blockchain gaming kind of ecosystem boom, and I feel like personally, I think it's going to come from like a native game, just because I feel like those folks don't really have any incentive to kind of roll out their an open marketplace, because they already are making a lot of money, like billions of dollars with their current system. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I do think it's going to be kind of a blockchain native game, and I think right now, obviously, there's a bit massive wave in blockchain gaming and NFTs in general. So I feel like a lot of teams are getting a lot more funding, because obviously it takes a lot of money to make a well developed game, and I think that was kind of one of the issues before, like last year or the year before, is not many teams were able to raise that much capital, just because there wasn't as much interest. But I think now with the amount of interest, like kind of exponentially increasing in blockchain gaming, and people's appetite for NFTs obviously increasing quite a bit as well, I do think we're going to see that massive $1 trillion DApp, like Steve said, like relatively sooner than.
You got to imagine most of these teams have been sitting on this idea, whatever their idea is like money for them. And now the money that they needed to make that idea happen is coming in within this last year or so, So now it's just going to take that little time for development, and you're going to see something big. You got to imagine something big come out in the next few months. There's like a way more developed, let's say, game, whether it's in Decentraland or in its own standalone game that's blockchain enabled. And then when they put the pressure on those companies, then those companies will see their way in. But not until then. Not until they like, wait, this is messing with our money.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think everyone in here, or at least most of you with projects, have some sort of a cryptocurrency attached to it, like an ERC20 coin. How important has that been, both as a way to raise money and a way to generate interest? Do any of you think that you would be able to pull these games off without having a coin like that?
Oh, it's been huge for us. I know, I think our community in general exponentially increased after releasing the coin, and it was kind of a surprise to a lot of folks in our community, because I didn't really share it with too many people. But afterwards, I think it really allows people to feel like they're part of the project, and treat it as such, as like because they essentially own a portion of it in a way. So. So yeah, for us at least, I think our engagement increased in like a lot, and I think being able to give it away as a prize for competitions, made our daily active users like spike compared to before. So I think as a whole, I think it's a great model. You just kind of have to plan out the economics, I'd say, in a way like any other crypto project. You're trying to kind of design it in a way that rewards whoever's earliest that's involved with your project, whether it's, investors or the team or, users or players of your game. I think if you design a system where as it grows, the earliest supporters and, active members get rewarded, I think it's a recipe for, some exponential growth that you wouldn't be able to achieve without a token.
Mm-hmm. Steve, Robert, do you guys echo that sentiment, or do you have different experiences there?
I know myself, we migrated over to ETH, to ERC July of last year. Definitely we saw some more community engagement. Being added to Uniswap is a huge benefit in that sense. With the staking mechanisms, people are comfortable with ERC across other, meme and other DeFi. So it gives them that comfort level when they reach us with ERC as well. So I believe right now, in 5 years that might look different with other chains coming to play. But if the network effect, continues, I don't see ETH, being overtaken by anyone anytime soon. So I think we're safe for the foreseeable future to still be riding on ETH for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I absolutely kind of echo Miles and Steve have said there. I think for us, play to earn wouldn't work really without a token. It's really is as simple as that. And very much like Miles said, a major utility or use case that we're building into the token is governance. So you get to move towards that more like decentralization or a DAO as well. And again, that's not possible where literally, at the end of the day, for a gaming project, the most important people are the gamers, the community, and for them to be able to have a voice to change the direction of the project and the game and be involved in those key decisions, I think is essential. And if we didn't have a token, we would have fungible credits or whatever, which we do have anyway for a slightly different use case. But at that point, it's like, well, I can't buy or sell these. You open up, obviously, which is why if you think about World of Warcraft Gold is one I always use because I played World of Warcraft far too many hours when I was younger. Then it's like, okay, I've farmed 10,000 gold, but I have to spend that in game or nothing, right? I can't extract any of that time and energy from the game I've just spent 15 hours playing, to myself or to elsewhere, have that element of control. And I think it's for me, it's a matter of principle as well as ideology to offer that kind of opportunity to our players. So I absolutely completely agree with Miles and Steve on that.
I have a question for the same crew here. What negative ramifications have you guys seen because you have a token, from government to community? What have you seen negative?
I mean, I would say when kind of planning a launch of a token, I think I actually talked with Robbie about this a few weeks ago. I mean, you really have to design it and you have to analyze it like your mission and really control it. And so I think in our case. When I designed the economics of DG, I don't think I did an optimal job, to be honest, initially with the first few months. And I was actually way too generous with it, with rewards, with, just supply in general. And the supplies was too high. And as a result, the token kind of got sold off. People sold it off. They mined it and then they just dumped it. So, luckily for us, our DAO, we got the DAO up and running as soon as possible. So then we were able to adjust the rewards rates, reduce the liquidity mining rewards that we had that was causing a lot of sell pressure on the token. And then luckily after that, we were able to recover from just a pure supply and demand standpoint. So yeah, I would say, anyone that's considering launching one, as Robbie and I kind of discussed this, I think you really have to assume the worst. If you're giving out rewards, obviously you want people to hodl it. But when you're planning a model, people are most of them are going to sell early on because the project's not proven. Right. So I would say that's obviously something that was negative, but obviously because of the decentralized nature of the project, we're able to kind of steer it in the right direction and recover from that.
Interesting.
I completely agree.
I think you're being too hard on yourself there, boss, because I think the 1 million cap that you put on DG for the supply was an excellent idea. You didn't have like 200 billion or anything like that, and I think it is enticing for people that are investing and also earning the stuff to hold on to it. Like every time that you airdrop stuff, people are going to be dumping it, whether it's earned or not. But yeah, I don't think I think you've done a good job with the token. I think it's a good way that you've used to get people involved with the casino and the wearables too, because we all noticed. Well, for those of us that monitor the Decentraland wearables sales, that the DG wearables took off as soon as you put those rewards attached to them and the staking things on there. So you may have been too generous, but in the very beginning, but maybe that was part of the reason that drove engagement.
The early adopters and stuff. Also, it's a good model for anybody who's doing some sort of game build, anything in Decentraland. It's a really good example. You don't got to do it exactly like Boss did it, but you should take some notes. You know.
Yeah,
and Miles, I have a question for you. We did our drop together with Digital. We had our fashion show at the same time, and I remember your wearables were about 3,000 man, I think, per piece, and most of them are 1,500. Did you know then that those economics going to be built into that, and that's why the price was more, like because there was something actually utility to it?
I would say that was in summer, right? Like late summer. Like
it was, yeah. It was a while ago now. Seems like 5 years ago.
I don't. To be honest, I don't think so. 'Cause to be honest, I wasn't even planning on doing a token. I kind of wanted to do it a while, but I wasn't planning on doing it until I was inspired by a lot of the DeFi coins during last summer, like Wi-Fi and Uni and all these kind of tokens that have the community governed treasury kind of architecture. And that's kind of when I decided to write the paper for DG and launch it. And it wasn't until like September, I think. So to be honest, I at that point in time, I wasn't planning on doing the utility. I think I was just I just wanted to make cool wearables, and I personally like tracksuits and minks, and it's just kind of that vibe. And I thought it would fit in the casino kind of. So that's why, and I definitely priced it high, I think, compared to most.
If I remember correctly, boss, it was a lot to do with because you didn't plan on selling them at all. You planned on having them be rewarded for something, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like regardless of
I wasn't planning on selling
coin at the time.
Yeah. And I gave a bunch away. I gave a lot of them away. Not even as prizes, just to people.
Nice.
Yeah.
They huddled.
No, those are awesome. The NFTs there, pretty much that entire summer collection was like mind blowing. I remember we had that big official fashion show at the conference center where everyone's standing right now. It was a big runway with changing rooms and everything. It was set up a lot differently, and that was one of those events that the whole community came out for. I mean, we were all excited to get new wearables. I think those were the first the first contracts or whatever you want to call it that were given out for the wearables. So that was an exciting time. And now, little by little, we're attaching utility to them. I know the MetaZone guys, you have certain power-ups and stuff that your wearables,
that's right.
Your wearables grant when you're experiencing with some of your games you have there. At the very beginning, I think I opened us up too early with talking about kind of what MetaZone is. But now that everyone's kind of warmed up, can you give us a rundown on exactly how people can interact with your games and use the wearables as well?
Yeah, so we built a couple of games, and our main flagship game was Corona Zombies, and in Corona Zombies, it's basically a first-person shooter in Decentraland, and the idea is that you will collect these NFT weapons and upgrade them by getting rid of the infection in Decentraland, if you will. And so part of the functionality of our wearables is that it would increase damage, it would take a lot less damage, it would increase fire rate and things like that. And ultimately, I mean, anybody can do this. You don't have to have like any special skills. You just need to be able to create a game and leverage the NFTs that exist. And so we can add power-ups for any of the NFT wearables out there. It's just a matter of getting our developers to actually do it, right? So So yeah, it's more about like just focusing on the gameplay and trying to encourage the activity that you want to have players do by increasing that that functionality with your wearables. So there's nothing special about it. It's just more about thinking about the gameplay and sort of like the version of tokenomics, but for the game, if you will. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. It's just got to think through what you want people to do in your game.
Mm-hmm. So is there any other things that you guys are thinking towards right now? Because you have a few different games there: Block Runner and Block Jump, Block Hole.
Yeah.
And Pack Runner there. Is there any other ways that you're experimenting with your wearables right now?
Well, that's a good question. So one of the things that Decentraland I know is working on is going to enable anybody to create these wearables. And so anybody will have this capability, right, to integrate their wearables into their own experience, whatever it may be. So it's hard to kind of apply. Like if you like, I'm actually recording and I'm showing myself right here, and I have blades on my arm, and so I don't see how this like will play along with like Ethermon or any other game. But you know, it's up to kind of the creator how they want these wearables to interact, and also it depends on the game itself. Like maybe you're interacting with a pet, so your wearables are not going to be like slashing these little pets into little pieces, right? That wouldn't make sense. But yeah, it's just a matter of like kind of the conversation we were having earlier with Robbie is about the partnerships. Like how are you going to integrate in my game, and then you just have that conversation, then you just do it. So yeah, it's not an easy question for sure.
No, yeah, it's definitely tough, and especially right now, we're just scratching the surface with utility, especially just Decentraland being in its infancy and the constant changes. I know, Will, you touched on it earlier that part of the issue with interoperability is kind of keeping up with each other, right?
Yeah.
Everyone has to be on like one level surface to make everything work, and right now the surface is always changing. Seemingly in Decentraland and among all of the other little mini games inside of there.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I just wanted to ask Miles. I know that he's. I'm not sure if his connection is back with us or not. But right now, the games that you offer at the casino are blackjack and roulette. Miles and I chatted a while ago on YouTube about Texas Hold'em. And I know that they've been experimenting with Texas Hold'em. Miles, has that launched yet? What are all the games right now that are at the casino that people can go and play?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we have our main games are blackjack and roulette, and we're working on the poker. Yeah, Texas Hold'em. It's playable too, so you can play it. It's just free play tokens. We haven't added like die or mana gameplay yet, but I would say pretty soon. We're shooting for the end of the month to be able to test with die and mana. But yeah, you can play. It's up to 6 players, and we have it right across the street from the Tomonoya Casino. It's like in like a Western lounge. So we haven't really publicized it too much, but it's just kind of in testing mode now, and it's pretty smooth. I would say definitely check it out if you're a poker aficionado.
That's going to be huge. That's going to be so cool. Really excited for that. Like just hats off for that. I'm excited about that for sure, Miles. I'll definitely come and steal all your DG over over a poker table, mate.
I think like a Gamblers Anonymous section.
Yeah, right.
Ooh, that's what me and Frankie can build into Decentraland. Gamblers Anonymous thing for all of the DJs coming to your games. They could come and get support from us.
From my community. The poker will be fun. I think it'll attract a totally different type of user too, a different player. Because some people just don't. Especially for myself, I can't play like blackjack or roulette for more than like 10, 15 minutes. I could play poker for over an hour. So I think like the session time will be much better, for sure.
Yeah, I think so, and I think because the beauty of that is like, I don't really think in my life I'm that lucky. But I like to back myself with some elements of skill here and there, and you bring in across like skill gamers as well as luck gamers, right? So, and I think that definitely opens up your kind of entire, user base there for sure. So that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. I see Frankie talking. I don't think it's picking it up though.
Oh yeah, you're muted.
Oh, I was saying you can hear the competitive nature coming from Robbie right now.
Oh yeah.
You can feel him. He's like, bet me something right now. Like,
I'm gonna come in and lose all my mana. I'm scared now. I should have kept my mouth shut.
yeah. But no, Texas Hold'em definitely brings that element of competitiveness. You know, this is not like just the highest. You're kind of against other people. And some sort of skill level is involved. So.
Awesome.
No, I think gambling Twitter is coming for it. I've kind of watched it develop from the NBA Top Shot community, where all of these sports gambling guys got into NBA Top Shot just because everyone's into the stock market and things these days. It's just another way for people to speculate and kind of feel like they have a foot in the game with investing. So they were introduced to this technology through NBA Top Shot, and then from there they went on to ZRun, and now they're understanding how they can utilize the technology. And now I think the next step is going to be virtual worlds. Specifically, I think blockchain-based gaming, but really virtual worlds, where they're going to move from Top Shot to ZRun, and now like full degen mode, and be able to like experience the full scale of the technology with their friends and everything like that. Because as cool as ZRun is, it's still, I think, pretty limited right now as to how much experience you can have with it. And I think that Decentral Games and MetaZone really just the in-world experiences offer so much more than just a single game does. And obviously, throughout the years, I think these games will all develop into something more than they are right now. But the virtual worlds seem poised to really grab hold of all of the new users that are coming in.
Yeah, 100%. We're working with Ethermon, and they are developing so many things for Decentraland specifically that the community, everyone involved in Ethermon who have like this content can generate revenue in Decentraland. And I think that's like, it plays upon the play to earn aspect that we're all like really deep in. And now the metaverse is going to be populated from like casino games to like pet games to all kinds of stuff that we can't really imagine just yet. But I think we're in the mode of like building the tools to enable all that. And we're barely scratching the surface. I think we haven't seen anything yet.
And then what Game Credits does over with Steve is they give people a way to kind of allow investors, I guess, or users to kind of stake coins, I guess, or I'm stumbling for the right word to use for it. But they can access some of their favorite content creators and some of their favorite games and support them by staking Game Credits coin game onto these profiles. And I was just looking, I noticed Frankie Needles is on there. I noticed a lot of money is on there, some of these different people. And we're talking about competition. It's kind of a leaderboard of sorts. So Steve, how do you choose who gets onto this platform here? Can anyone apply? And then also kind of what are the rewards for people that are staking? If I wanted to buy a bunch of game and go stake it on Frankie Needles' profile, what are some of the rewards I can earn from that?
Yes, there's two different ways that the rewards portal works. So if you were to stake on Frankie, and Frankie, thank you for joining the portal. So it is open to anyone to join. We do have kind of a hot picks list that we choose internally, and typically it's kind of more projects with just a larger social following that we kind of put on that list. That's kind of the marker that we use. But if you do have game, which game is obtainable on Uniswap, it's also a currency used on OpenSea as well. We're on about 5 or 6 exchanges now.
QuickSwap too, if you want to get gas-free transactions.
Exactly, totally. So you can, whatever you stake, every week we pay out 100,000 game, and that's for about another 3 months or 3 years and 7 months. That's going to continue on. So every week we pay out 100,000 game. It's split up 50% on the backers of the projects, as well as the projects themselves. So the projects can be anything from a game, a metaverse, an artist, a social, kind of someone who does a YouTube channel, anyone, esports. So you can stake on them, and then every week they split the rewards with you. So if I was staking, say, all my game on Somnium Space, we would split that reward at the end of the day, at the end of the week. So technically they get 50% of what I'm staking. So they don't really have to be staking anything other than the project. And it's a way to carry over. So some of them, some artists, crypto artists that are on there will have crypto artist fans coming in who don't really know much about blockchain gaming. There's going to be some gamers that come on there too that know nothing about crypto art. So we're trying to kind of cross promote all these different niches in the space, so to speak. And game itself has seen a nice spike lately. And I think that's due to there was someone, I believe, on CNBC that came out last week, CNBC Money, that said we were kind of one of the sleeping giants in the blockchain gaming industry. When we saw an enormous spike within a very short period of time. So we've kind of set a new floor of about 35 cents, which is nice to see. And we haven't released our marketplace just yet. We released our minting tool, but kind of quietly. So with our marketplace and the minting tool, our minting tool it's got huge capacities as far as file size, audio, 3D, and everything else. So it's going to kind of come out of the gates a lot bigger and with more capacity than I would say 95% of other competitors to us. And then as well with Dissolution and some other games there, which we might take in-house. And then we've also got Nova Blitz, which is an in-house game. So we're going to try to put some of our assets that are minted on the rewards portal in-game, and those wallet holders that control those are going to have almost be like an async model where they're going to be able to control some of the in-game look and feel of the worlds that they're playing in.
That's going to be awesome. There's a lot of cool projects already on here, especially from the last time I checked in. There's so much more added. And I noticed some of them, you mentioned the minting that you had available. I noticed some of them had like these special limited edition collectibles on here. Is that going to be something?
Yes.
Yep. Is that going to be something that you're moving towards? Like, is that gonna? Do you want that to run side by side with the staking aspect, or is there one side or the other that you're more focused on right now, staking or NFTs?
I think it's a combination of both. So you can actually, there'll come a time when you can get NFTs as a reward instead of game credits. So you get almost loyalty rewards, and those can be spent on certain assets that ETH and game can't be spent. So we're going to almost like it's almost mimicking what Whale did when Whale was like 2 things on OpenSea, 3 on our site. Then they weeded it down, and all of a sudden all 5 are only available on Whale. Something along that model is what we'd like to do. Now we have been working with OpenSea, so when we do launch our marketplace, any asset on there is also visible on OpenSea as well. So it's going to be, and then we offer Polygon or Mainnet. You can decide which. For someone like myself, I would connect with my wallet and use Mainnet, but we want to give everyone the opportunity to use what they're more comfortable with, as well as the financial barrier in some cases.
That's awesome. And then you also have a couple builds in the world, and I want to go around the room here, the Zoom real quick. What are the coordinates where people can find the game credits and digital builds at inside of Decentraland? Do you know the coordinates?
We have 13 builds now. Oh my God, I know game credits is directly beside Whale. It's where the neighbor to his left, I believe, and then Digitable is, my memory serves me right, it is minus 46. 82, I believe, but I'm not 100%. You can go to my Twitter, Crypto Steve Wand, and see all of them. And then we just opened a game last week in Crypto Voxels. Don't know the coordinates of that, and I opened 3 BitBuzz galleries as well in Crypto Voxels. So, yeah,
that's awesome. The one that's next to Whale that Steve's talking about is actually right down the street from the conference center here. I believe if you go out the front doors and take a right and just go straight down the street, you'll bump into it. It's a cool build.
Yeah, you can't miss it. It looks like a huge gaming console from kind of like the 80s, 90s. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
It's cool. And then Steve has his very impressive art collection at the one that's over there in the Festival Land district, I believe it is, at the minus 46 location. Both really cool stuff, especially the one with all the art hanging on it. Will, what's the coordinates for the MetaZone headquarters? I know that there's tons of builds from MetaZone just because that's the nature of your platform is buying and selling builds. But what's the main headquarters at?
Yeah, the headquarters is at 61-27. And so there you'll find all of our games, and you'll run into a bunch of Ethermon there as well, kind of in the surrounding area. But yeah, that's the headquarters, and that's also like our testing center. So all the new stuff that we're playing with, you'll see there too.
Awesome. And then Boss, what's the coordinates? I know you guys have basically an entire district to yourselves there. You have tons and tons of land that still needs filling up, but the main casino you have there, and then maybe the other one as well. What are the coordinates to those 2 places?
Our main one is at negative 119, 133. And then we have one at negative 77, 76. But yeah, obviously, we got some more in the works, and if you kind of venture around each casino, that you can see some of the stuff that we've been working on, like the poker, and we have like a wearable shop nearby as well. So yeah, just kind of those main two areas, I would say.
It's a beautiful layout up there, all the shopping and everything that you have. And then, Robert, do you still have the Chain Guardians Museum? I know that you had one up in the Art District for a while, and then one kind of right off the main path there. Do you guys still have stuff up and running inside of Decentraland for Chain Guardians?
Yeah, so the art gallery is still there in Crypto Valley. Please don't ask me to recite the coordinates because off the top of my head, I really can't remember. But yeah, we're also actually in the bit of a reveal, I guess, but we are in the process of developing our own headquarters in Decentraland as well. We plan to kind of run quite a few like events from there and stuff in the future for our community and everybody in Decentraland as well who obviously wants to come along. So yeah, we also like to have a good involvement with Decentraland. As you will know, Anorak, and others will know, I've been quite heavily involved in Decentraland myself from a long time ago as well. So, we have got various considerations with regards to Decentraland and absolutely a headquarters coming soon. So watch this space on that one.
Awesome. And then, Frankie, where are we all getting beers at after all these games? When we're done playing, we're done with the conference, where are we winding down at?
Go in the URL and you type juxton.land. It's the easiest way to get to my place. Juxton is my partner who did all the programming on the bar. So juxton.land is how I find it. I think it's -67, -114. But juxton.land is just how I always get there.
Juxton.land. Awesome. Yeah, Frankie's got his own pub down there. You guys might recognize it once you get down there from if you are fans of 90s comedy
I referenced
shows.
Moe's Tavern. And we actually got to redo some textures because I got some great help from a guy named Geffen, who is he does like graphic art, but he's really good at optimizing. So he found a way to optimize my images to make things smaller. So we're gonna go through and do that this week. I've been a little under the weather, so I wasn't able to do it last week, but yeah, so we're gonna be doing that this week, and then after that, I'm actually gonna start doing events there myself. Different, I DJ and stuff, so I'm gonna do some stuff at my place, and then we're gonna probably start having other people do stuff as well. I'm finding that a lot of people are kind of reaching out to me to do events since I do events all the time.
Awesome. Yeah, it's always a fun time at the bar at Frankie's pub down there, especially now that we have like some voice chat and stuff going on in the world, and there's a lot more people. It took a while for people to get comfortable with it, I think, and even to understand how to use it. And now every time I drop by the bar, when there's a group of people there, it seems like everyone's chatting it up and everything, which is awesome because you can only communicate so well via text, right? Yeah. When you're doing voice, it opens up a whole new way of communicating to people.
Yeah, it was hilarious. I was standing in a random parcel, and someone shows up, and I was talking with Ivan, and someone shows up and says, "How do I get rich?" I was like, that was the first thing he says, like via voice. I was like, dude.
Yeah, that happened.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That happened.
You should have sent him to your parcel, Will, and be like, "Yeah, right, this forever."
Yeah. Buy this first.
No, I actually took somebody on the other day, and we voice chatted the whole time. Brought him to my place. He run by the neighborhood, and we did a couple different little rounds. If it's important, I think it's important if you are from the old school and it's not somebody just straight trolling you, bring him around for a little bit. Give him 5 minutes of your time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, so we got that going on. Let's take a quick look here and see what other events we got coming up. I know we got the Bootsy Collins.
I got that thing coming up tomorrow. That's going to be tomorrow after the Metaverse talk that we have here. I'm super excited for that, man. What Bootsy Collins is to me is just like epic, just because I was big into hip hop all my life, and really hip hop gets its whole culture from the funk era. So, what I'm saying, it's huge to be working with them and putting on this show tomorrow. It's going to be, I believe, at 3 p.m. my time. So it'll be right after the talk tomorrow, and it's going to be Eclectic Methods putting together a mix that I've seen a bit of it. It's sick. Like, you guys are gonna, if you go see it, you'll recognize a lot of the references that are going on in that mix. And then there'll be some Bootsy Collins stuff as well upstairs, and he's got some shout outs for everybody. So it's super cool. It's gonna be sick at the Sugar Club tomorrow.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and hosted at the Sugar Club. That's going to be a fun time. It seems like a perfect combo for the.
I think I'm going to be organizing something with Crypto Una on Saturday, and I'll put that up on the events. But that just like kind of came up last minute.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. And then we got a casino night at Decentral Games as always. That's going to be actually in 5 hours. Is the next one. It starts. Boss, are you still doing the airdrops during it? I know last night you had some airdrops going on, and people love the airdrops. So let them know.
Yeah, last night we did a bunch because the index, the Metaverse Index was launched, and so we got to airdrop a bunch of index tokens. But every one of our events we do some DG airdrops, like every 5 minutes. If it's a crypto competition, then we to enter you just have to play games with crypto. And it's every 5 minutes, so 12 total, and then the top 5 scorers get big prizes, and obviously in the crypto events it's a little bit bigger prizes than the free play events. But tonight, super late, it's like 1 a.m. UTC, it's 6 p.m. for the West Coast folks, and it'll be a free play event, so you don't have to have any crypto. Like kind of what Robbie was saying earlier, like it's good to have a free version of the game where people can just play and experience the actual game, and then get familiar with it before playing with crypto. And so if it's a great way to just compete against everyone, and you get good turnouts at those. But then if you're the real deal and you want to compete against a bunch of degens for the crypto prizes, which are pretty hefty, that's tomorrow. So we pretty much have an event almost every day. So lots of prizes to be had.
And Miles, out of curiosity, do the Decentraland World Cup jerseys, do they work as wearables or what?
Yeah. they don't. I was thinking about adding them, but I mean, we could pretty much
about that yesterday. Actually, it's funny.
Nice. I have a dozen of those.
So the thing is, like, we can add any wearable to give DG bonus. It really depends if the DAO wants to, and I think when I was speaking with Atari, and they were kind of thinking about adding some bonus to one of their wearables, and it just takes a DAO vote. So I mean, if anyone is interested, and you can convince the community of DG to add, the bonus to the wearables, it's definitely an option.
Dang, that's awesome.
That's a beautiful thing, man. You have to go, and ask the DAO. I love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, anyone have any closing thoughts before we get out of here? Any bold predictions they want to make for where the industry is going, or anything that you guys want to share about your own specific projects?
I'll just say this: Ethermon, they have huge announcements coming up. Stay tuned. Can't really say what it is yet, obviously, but it should be dropping any moment now. I've been saying that for 2 weeks, but it's something's happening.
Awesome. Robert, Steve, anything before we get out of here? Or?
From my perspective, game does have lots coming up on the pipeline. Can't really discuss much now, but just stay tuned in our Discord for the coming 1 to 2 months, and you'll all know at that point what it is.
Yeah, awesome. Similar sort of thing, really. Loads and loads in the pipeline. Lots of improvements to PvP. We'll be turning on play to earn sometimes quarter, so users will actually be able to earn CGG tokens. We've got numerous kind of developments ongoing with various partner projects as well. So yeah, our roadmap's on the website. Please take a look. You'll see it's very, very full. It sometimes makes me feel a little bit sick when I look at it, but also very exciting. So yeah, please come check us out and the game, try it out.
Awesome. And pretty much everyone in here, if you're trying to look for these projects on Twitter and social media, if you just type in @ and then the project name right after it, you'll be able to get everything to pop up. I think everyone in here has done a good job at branding themselves that way. So at Game Credits, chain_guardians, MetaZone.io, and Decentral Games. All that stuff will pop up for you, and then you can find these gentlemen navigating through there. So thanks everyone for joining, especially our guests here, and then everyone in World. And if you're trying to stick around and you're not ready to leave the metaverse yet, swing on by Frankie's Tavern. That is Juxton.land, or if you're already in World, it is -67, -114. So swing through there, and then we will see you all tomorrow. So thank you to our guests, and thanks again to everyone that came out to watch.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys.